But as I said, this is free. If it's on your Facebook, turn this into a watch party and share it with your friends. The more people that see this, the better. We just bring up some a board for you to say if you want to donate any money to do this, any amount will do. It's been wonderful. We've been incredibly well supported over the last couple of weeks, and we believe this is going to be a great thing. This has been running for quite a few weeks now. We've had people by the names of, you might remember, Jean de Villiers, Skulk obviously was there, Brian Abana, and last week we had a huge celebration with the 25th anniversary of winning the World Cup in 1995. And so tonight we feature in Victor Matfield, the most capped Springbok of all time. Dr. Dean Allen is an historian, and he has written a number of books in relation with sports, and he is going to be doing the interview tonight. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Terry, I think what we can do is we can start letting the people in, and if we'd like to play some music, I'll just make another announcement just when everyone's in, and then we'll do the kiss cam as well.
Okay, they're just about all in, Andre.
Thank you. All right, to the people that have just entered from the waiting room, it was great to see you here. Wonderful to have you inside the room, and we trust that tonight you're going to have an amazing time. We've got the incredible Victor Matfield in conversation with Dr. Dean Allen, and all of it is just to raise funds for the Chris Berger Petro Jackson Players Fund. Sit back and enjoy. One of the things that we love to do while we're waiting for the people to arrive is to do a kiss cam. So if you don't know what that is, when you are featured on the front page of this thing, just remember that everybody in the world is looking at you at the moment. So enjoy, give us a wave, and if you're sitting with somebody that you love, give them a kiss. Welcome, everybody. As you see, I'm dressed, Terry, we just spotlight me there for a second. I am dressed in the latest fashion. I am dressed with the Players Fund 25-year commemoration of winning the World Cup. These masks are available at Pick n Pay, and all the money that's being raised from them is going to the Players Fund. I must say, I've got quite a few masks, but this one is really, really comfortable. It's exceptionally well made, and it really is a bit of an attention getter. So if you want one of these, go down to your local Pick n Pay. Most Pick n Pays are stocking them, especially in the big cities. If they're not there with you, they will be with you there shortly. So congratulations on coming here tonight. So you're in the right place. It's a chilly evening here in Cape Town. I think the way that Victor's also got a big bulky jacket on, so I think it's a little bit cool in Pretoria as well. But you are most welcome. Tonight we are going to be interviewing Victor Matfield, the interviewer being Dr. Dean Allen, a sport historian, and we've been doing this as a series of exercises to raise funds for the Chris Berger Petro Jackson Players Fund. We will be popping this up every now and then, so if you want to get out your phone and put on your Zapper or your SnapScan, or you would like to do an EFT, we would appreciate any donations that you have. We have had in the past some of the recipients being interviewed on this process, and it's an exceptionally moving thing to see how much work is being done with people that have had accidents playing the sport of rugby. But without further ado, let's get this going. Dr. Dean Allen graduated, when you'll be surprised when you hear his accent, of all places, at the University of Stellenbosch. He has an absolute passion for sport. He's written one of South Africa's best sellers called Empire, War and Cricket, sold over 10,000 copies. But he's here tonight in his role as the interviewer. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a metaphorical big welcome to Dr. Dean Allen.
Thank you, Andre. Thank you for that wonderful welcome. And yeah, good evening, everybody. It's nice to see all your smiling faces as we go around the room. I know it's pretty chilly here in South Africa, but there's a heat wave back in the UK, and I can see some of our regular viewers there, our Saracen supporters, wearing vests, which is quite a thing to see in the UK. So welcome, everybody. It's lovely to see you again. And as I said, as I say each week, thank you for making us a part of your Thursday evening. I know there's a lot of these Zoom presentations on now, but I'd like to think that this is a quality one. And those of you who have supported us over the past few weeks, thank you so much. This is really is a team effort. I couldn't do this without Terry keeping all the technical side together, and Andre, fantastic MC every week. So thank you so much for the team there, and thank you for our supporters as well, because without you, this thing wouldn't go anywhere, and you spread the word each week. So I really do appreciate that. But I'm excited to obviously interview Victor tonight. I mean, fantastic, record-breaking Springbok player. But what we're going to do to just start off with, yesterday, of course, was a magnificent date in South African history. In fact, world sport history. On the 24th of June, 1995, the Springboks lifted the Webb Ellis Trophy there at Ellis Park. And yeah, it perhaps changed the future of South Africa, with Nelson Mandela, of course, as the figurehead of that new country. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about history, of course, tonight during the interview, but we've also got an exciting announcement to make because, as you know, we're raising funds for this wonderful charity, the Chris Berger Petro Jackson Players Fund. And we're delighted to say that we've got this wonderful Springbok Opus book here. Now, this is an absolute limited edition. We've decided to put this up for raffle. It's going to be available from tomorrow. Next week, we're going to be interviewing none other than Beast, wonderful Springbok legend. And before that, we'd like you to go online as you register as you've done this week and put your name down for this wonderful limited edition raffle. This book literally is a limited edition, only 20 produced. This is number 2, but more specially, as you can probably see there, it's signed by the entire 2015 Springbok squad. So all we'd like you to do is to pay 100 Rand for a raffle. That's nothing, certainly for our British audience. And we're going to limit the number of tickets to 300. So you've got a bigger chance of winning this. It really is a one-off. So that we're excited to announce leading into next week and perhaps the week after for that interview. So please do support us on that. But I'm going to go no further than to introduce another record breaker, another history maker tonight, because I'm interviewing Victor Matfield, as you all know, as the record number of Springbok caps than any South African player. Good evening, Victor. How are you doing?
Good evening, guys. Thank you for having me tonight.
No, pleasure, absolute pleasure. I've got to ask the first thing, Victor. You are old enough. What were you doing on the 24th of June, '95? Can you remember that day?
I can. I must say, I'm not the guy that can remember a lot of things, but that day I can remember. I was in matric last year at school. We were at a friend's place for the final, and like I said, after that final whistle we went into town, and for the first time in the history of South Africa, white, black, colored, Indians, everyone was partying in the streets together. It felt like for the first time ever, South Africa were one nation, the rainbow nation that everyone talks about. So just a fantastic day. And yeah, sport unites people. I was fortunate enough in my career to have one or two of those opportunities where I can really feel that we're doing something special for the country.
No, it was certainly a magnificent day, that's for sure. I had the honor last week of interviewing Francois Pienaar, Morne du Plessis, Os Durant, and Joel Stransky. And you could just still feel the emotion as they talked about that special occasion and what it did for the country. But tonight's about you, Victor, and I want to get straight back to where it all started. Petersburg High School, and I read with interest that it might not have been cricket, it might not have been rugby that was going to be your future. You're a decent cricketer as well, I heard.
Yeah, I grew up with sport. My dad was headmaster at the primary school, and I grew up in a sporting house, and I just loved sport. I played tennis, I played cricket, rugby, I swam, I did athletics, I did everything. I just loved sports and everything with a ball. Every birthday, I just wanted a rugby ball, a cricket ball, a tennis racket, or whatever. So yeah, I love sport, and I must say at school level, probably a little bit better at cricket up till about standard 9 or grade 11, like they call it now. And then all of a sudden the rugby came through. I played provincial cricket from grade 5 right through to matric, and with cricket. And with rugby, I actually started growing a bit later. So in high school, I struggled a little bit in the earlier years, and then yeah, around about standard 9, when I was 17, I started growing, and yeah, things changed all of a sudden. The rugby started going really well.
It's interesting. When we spoke to Skulk Berger, he actually admitted he could have been a cricketer. I mean, he loves his cricket, so things could have been a lot different. That's for sure. So we talk about opportunities at school. You're obviously at a strong sports school, and you were given those opportunities. But your big break came within the Craven Week, the famous Craven Week, of course, that we know here in South Africa. Can you explain the significance that particular week has to, burgeoning sports stars or people who want to follow a career in rugby in this country?
Yeah, I think Craven Week is just a great place for young players to come through. Especially this last few years, I think the inter-schools with the bigger schools really grew, and a lot of the players get picked from there to go into the professional setup, where now time it didn't really happen like that. You had to go through Craven Week, and especially for myself, although I was in a pretty big school, I was more from the country districts, so it's not out of the big provinces like the Northern Transvaal, like the Lions, like Western Province. It's Limpopo Province, so far north in those days. And yeah, it was actually interesting. So in my second last year, I was the number 5, and I was in the starting lineup for far north, or Limpopo like they're called now. And in my matric year, I actually missed out. I was the reserve. And I got picked actually from being a reserve for far north to the Transvaal Bonde, like they called it back then, and to the SA Academy. And yeah, that gave me the opportunity to get signed by the Bulls, to go play in Pretoria. I was actually going to go study. My parents said, listen, rugby is just a side job, it's just a hobby. You're going to study. And yeah, so I went to Tikkies and started studying, and I actually got my break at under 21 level when most of the guys, they went to the SA under 19s on the World Cup. and I stayed behind. I didn't make that squad. And then I got straight into the Blue Bulls under 21 side. And when those guys came back, I just stayed there. And yeah, that was actually my break. So sometimes when things don't go your way, you get opportunities, and I took it. And yeah, for 3 years, I didn't miss a game for the Blue Bulls under 21s. Played Ace under 21 for 2 years, and then yeah, things happened from there.
Well, it's interesting you talked about studying as well, because would you believe I was a bit older, I was a mature student, but I was at Stellenbosch when Bobby Skinstad was there, though we didn't see him in class very often, I must admit. But you played under Bobby for the under 21 Springboks. I mean, was that a great learning curve? You were at the Bulls, and now obviously you're part of that talented young team as well.
Yeah, I think you play with a lot of great players when you're a youngster, and Bobby was a great player as a youngster, and yeah, it was just great to get the opportunity. It was actually when I was in my second year. Now, first year we didn't do really well with Bobby as captain, and then the tournament was in Australia, and then the second year we had the tournament in South Africa where we had a guy like John Smith played with me, Jaco van der Westhuizen, and there were so many guys that we played, Lawrence Parker, that we played with the Springboks. So it's great to get that opportunity as a youngster to play with great players, and to see. It's probably the first time you get into an environment where you get to know all the guys from the other provinces as well. So, yeah, great opportunity, and we took it. We did really well in that under 21 tournament in Cape Town. I was fortunate enough to get named as sport of the tournament, and I think that's where things actually started happening for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've got a picture from those early days, have we, Terry? You haven't always sported those long flowing locks, have you? I mean, look at that.
Yeah, those pictures I was probably close to about 120 kg. So when I played my first game for the Springboks, I was close to 120 kgs. And when I finished in 2015, I was probably about 105 kgs. So I lost about 15 kgs throughout my career. And Bakkies and myself, we always joke, when we started with the Bulls, I was 120 kgs, and he arrived there from the Falcons as a 19-year-old, around about 105 kgs. And when we left, he was 125 and I was 105. So we just changed it around. So, yeah.
No, I'm sorry I'm putting that up there and showing you, but I just wanted everyone to see that I'm just jealous, you see, with my haircut. So don't take any notice, Victor. You made your
chance, huh?
Well, you never know.
Around.
You never know. You made your debut for the Boks on the 30th of June 2001 against Italy. Now, I've asked each one of the guys that have appeared on the show, can you remember that feeling of being picked for your country? And can you just take us through what happened that day?
Yeah, I can. I've got actually a longer story. So I got picked the year before in the midweek team from Griquas, playing in Griquas in Kimberley, not with one of the bigger unions. Didn't play a test match. And then the next year I moved to the Bulls, and I did a really good Super Rugby tournament. And going into the last game, in the warm-up, Donnie van Schalkwyk, who has played for the Boks at centre, came to me and said, "Listen, Victor, the team is getting named afterwards. You'll probably be there." And he was like joking and said, "Listen, but just don't get injured, please, because you're going to get named." And like it happens, 5 minutes into the game, I got a knock from the side, medial ligaments in my knee gone, 6 weeks out. After the game, the team got announced, and yeah, I was there. And then I had to pull out. I missed out, and they started the tournament without me. And we were in PE playing a sail week where all the big provinces played for almost a warm-up for Currie Cup. So I just came back. I was playing there, and then all of a sudden I got the call to join the team. Was in PE to join the Springbok team again. And yeah, great opportunity. And as the week built up, Rassie Erasmus came to me and said, "Listen, Victor, I don't feel right. I probably won't play this weekend. I think you might get your chance." And yeah, I got the opportunity to play off the bench with some great players. But for me, the next week, playing against the All Blacks, starting in Cape Town, felt like my first real game for the Springboks. And again, as it happens, I got the flu in that week, I share a room with Kobus Versace, Untitled Chapter. And I remember on the Friday night, I was really coughing the whole night. I couldn't breathe. So at some stage, I went to the bathroom just to sit, not to wake him up, because I'm a youngster. He's a senior player, playing my first test. Felt like I've got bronchitis, but I'm not going to say anything because I missed out with my knee. And yeah, so we ran out against the All Black, facing the haka. And I had to use my asthma pump probably every break just to breathe, to get through the game. And just before halftime, I got a finger in the eye from Anton Oliver, got knocked out, and I was off the pitch. So yeah, not the easiest of starts, but yeah, standing there facing the haka, just as you just can't explain that to anyone. Playing for your country, I always used to, when we sang the anthems, is just look around the park and just say thank you for the blessings and thank you for the opportunity to do what you do.
Yeah, well, that's incredible. I can't leave it there. You mentioned the haka, of course, one of the most famous things in world sport. Famously, in 2008, you led the Box down in New Zealand to beat the All Blacks down there in their own backyard. What was the psychology behind facing them before you even kicked off with this haka? Was it a spur of the moment thing, or did you always come into it preemptive? We're gonna line up. We're gonna face this thing, or was it left to the captain? Can you explain it?
Yeah, we started off in the beginning years, especially a guy like Rudolf Strali. He always wanted to almost combat it and let's sing something or let's do something. And I know 95, they had the thing where they walked up to the haka in the final. I must say, in my experience, it was just like, it's the most amazing thing to face and to stand there and take it in, because it probably motivates yourself more than them, because they do it every week. You only do it once or twice a year. So in the beginning years, we had this thing where we wanted to sing something or we wanted to walk up to them. But at the end of the career, we was just like, listen, this is an amazing thing to face. Let's respect it. Let's look at it, take it in, motivate yourself, get closer together, hold on to each other, and yeah, and you're up for the game. I don't think you as a position, well, England did something else in the World Cup this year that probably surprised New Zealand, but I think with a haka, you can't really do anything to do anything more than them. So I think standing there, just taking it in, getting it to motivate yourself and just enjoy the moment, because it's so special for the players facing it, for the players doing it, and for the crowd. So it's just a great tradition.
No, it's pure spectacle, of course, and it's one of the most honoured things in world rugby. Now, you were obviously, this was the start now of this incredible Springbok career. You will go on to beat the record of all-time appearances. So you're part of the Renaissance in 2004 and 2005, and I've been speaking over the last few weeks to members of that 2007 Rugby World Cup squad. Now, if we can fast forward there to France. We were talking the week before last, John Smith, about the preparation that went into this, that you had a really tight unit, him as the captain, he was, the psychology behind him, his role as a captain and bringing this group of players together. Did you feel that was your destiny to win that tournament? And what was so special about that squad in 2007? Yeah,
I think the great thing it wasn't just a year's preparation, it was 4 years preparation. We came out of 2003 World Cup, that was a shamble. If you think about Kamp Staaldraad and all the difficult things we went through, I remember having 13 test matches, sitting in the front row with a photo where the most senior guys gave the opportunities in the front row, with 13 test matches sitting in the front row. 2004, we arrived in a camp in Bloemfontein. John just been named captain, Jaquad taking over. And we walked into the team room the first day, and on the board stood 2007 Rugby World Cup champions. And that was our mission. For 4 years, that was what we believed in. And yes, we went through tough times. I think the first year, we had a great year. Things really went well. And then 2005, things went well. In 2006, we had a horrible year. We lost 49-0 to Australia in Sydney or Brisbane. we really struggled. End of the year tour, we struggled. And there was a lot of rumors around that Jake's going to get fired and everything. But I think as a team, we always knew that we were focusing on the World Cup. And there was some changes that Jake made end of 2005 where he saw, listen, I need to make changes for 2007. But he still kept with what he believed in. He said, listen, we need to have around about 500 test caps within the starting 15 if you want to win the World Cup. This is the kind of loose trio that I need. These are the centers that I need. And he stuck to that. And I must say, John had a big influence, especially building up to the World Cup. Jay can get pretty excited, but John was a guy that really kept him calm. And yeah, I think we, in the beginning of the 4 years, we were very much, especially myself being from the Bulls on the one side, all the other guys. Of course, the Bulls had a pretty strong squad at that time as well. But at the end of the year, I think the Springbok guys were probably better mates than we were at the Bulls because we played together for 4 years. We had this special bond, and we were like brothers. We were like friends. We like a family. Our wives knew each other. Our kids grew up together, and it was just a very special group.
No, and you went on to produce a man of the match performance in the final. You were the IRB player of the tournament. So clearly you were playing it at the top of your game during this tournament. But the interesting thing was you'd beaten the English quite easily early on in the tournament. You were to face them again, weren't you, in the final? Did that throw up some challenge?
Yeah, I think it did, because actually before 2006, we couldn't beat England. We only played them at Twickenham for the last 4 years. We got smashed, and I remember after 2004, after we won the Tri-Nations, we got smashed by England, and Jake came up with a quote that said, listen, it was like boys playing against men. And we had this thing against him, and then in 2007, they came into South Africa with a BC side, and we smashed them 3 times in a row. And then going into that first game, we were so well prepared for them. And we played them off the park. Rudy probably played the best match ever played by any Springbok in Springbok history. And yeah, going into the final, we had this confidence that we knew if we play well, we should win this game. But you also, with all that pressure on yourself, you don't want to risk stuff. So I had a look at the final probably about 3 weeks ago in lockdown, and we were very conservative. Where in the first game we went out and we played rugby, but in the final it probably wasn't needed, and we just did what we need to do. And I think again that was a very mature team, and we knew what we had to do on the day to win the game. We didn't have to take chances, and that worked for us. But yeah, that first game was just magical. Like I said, I think the best performance by any Springbok ever in a test match by Rudy.
No, fantastic. Terry, I think we've got a couple of images from the World Cup. I just want to, if you don't mind bringing them up. Well, first of all, I've got to say, Victor, I mean, whenever you look at a picture or you look online for a picture of yourself, I can't separate you from this other chap. Bakkies Botha, of course. He was your big pal and so effective. Now, tell me about this special relationship you guys had.
Yeah, I think the great thing is we're so different. Everyone think we're probably best mates off the field as well, but like I said, we're so different. He's out and out a farm boy. I'm a city guy. I like to go out. I like to spend time with mates. I like to play golf. Bakkies just want to go to his farm. But I think the nice thing is we just clicked from the start. Like I said, we started off, he was 105, I was 120. He probably looked up to me a little bit because I played for the Boks back then. And then we roomed together for about 10 years, shared the pitch. I can tell you so many stories where there was youngsters coming through where, I don't know if you guys can remember Hugh Cronje with the big beard. And he was like a big guy in the Bulls at some stage. Even when he went on the pitch, he will go Hugh. And at one training, I just said to Bakkie, yeah, he's starting to irritate me. He's coming and he thinks he can take us on. And then Bakkies just stepped up, put him on his back, said, whoop, whoop, that's over. And yeah, that was the great thing playing with Bakkies. He was the enforcer, like we called him. Everyone knew when he was on the pitch, he was the boss. No one will stand up to him. And we always had the upper hand on other teams. But yeah, we were so different. So the things that I wasn't good at, he was very good at. And the things he didn't want to do, I did in the week. He always tell the guys, if you ask him, they say, listen, Buckies, did you know what was going to happen? He said, no, I don't watch videos. I don't do anything. I'll just talk to Victor on a Friday and he'll tell me what to do. So that was exactly how it worked. But when you get onto the pitch, he was just amazing. And he had special skills. I mean, even when he went to law, when he was actually finished with the Springboks, he won 3 more European Cups, and he had a big impact in law as well.
No, fantastic stories. It's the combinations within that team are obviously very special. I want to move on now to what happened just a little bit later in your career. You moved to France with Toulon. The more I looked into this story, it was an interesting time there, wasn't it? You had this, can we say, a different kind of rugby owner who was bringing the top names to this club in France. I mean, you played alongside the likes of George Gregan, Andrew Mertens was there. What was that like, and how did that move come about? I think we got some pictures, Terry, to accompany that.
Yeah, I think it felt like playing for the Barbarians for 6 months. After 2007 in South Africa, there was a big thing about who's going to take over the head coaching role from Jake White. And Heineke Meyer was in the run, Peter de Villiers and Alistair Coetzee. So I thought Heineke will get it. Heineke also said, listen, if he gets the job, he'll give me the Springbok captaincy up to the next World Cup. And for me, that would have been great. I would have stayed in South Africa. I got offered the biggest contract in world rugby after 2007 from Toulon, from Murat. I actually enjoyed it quite a bit for the 6 months. But and then things happened in South Africa. I actually thought the chance of me going there would have been very small because Heineke is going to get the job and I'll stay in South Africa. But then Peter de Villiers got the job and I had to go to Toulon. Really enjoyed it. Like I said, it felt like a Barbarians week for about 6 months. I enjoyed the company. I mean, got to know a guy like George Gregan and Andrew Mertens, probably 2 of the best characters in world rugby. But for me, it felt like work. I just loved playing for the Bulls. I loved playing for the Springboks. And back then, we weren't allowed to play for the Springboks if we didn't play in South Africa. So I knew I wanted to come back. I knew I wanted to play in the 2009 British and Irish Lions Series for South Africa. So for the 6 months while I was there, although we did pretty well, I just wanted to get back to South Africa. And I had to fly back to see Peter de Villiers because he had some questions about me having the thing about Heineke in my contract. And I had to say, listen, I just played with Heineke and he offered me the captaincy, and that's why I signed with Toulon. And flying back to South Africa, getting to meet Peter, I decided I wanted to come back. Peter decided he wanted me back. And I must say the next 4 years with Peter de Villiers as a Springbok coach was probably the most fun in my Springbok career.
Oh, that's fantastic. Peter de Villiers, that particular era of Springbok rugby, of course, is interesting. It's been debated, but to hear that it was a rich part of your career is wonderful. Now, I don't want to rush through this interview. I could spend all evening, but I'm conscious of the time, and I just want to take you now to the next World Cup in 2011. Now, it didn't work out as planned, and you decided to retire after that tournament. Can you tell me why, and what was your thinking?
Yeah, it's difficult. Like I said, we were on a high in 2007. Then I went to Toulon. I came back. We won 2 more championships in Super Rugby with the Bulls. We beat the British and Irish Lions in 2009. We won Tri-Nations. We beat the All Blacks 4 times in 1 year. I'm counting the Barbarian game in when I captained the Barbarians. So it just felt like we were there, and I really thought we we believed in ourselves. I mean, I captained the box just before we went on to the World Cup in PE to beat the All Blacks there as well. And my career felt like I've done everything. I was 34. At that stage, everyone thought if you're 34, you're pretty old, so you had to retire as well. My kids were growing up, they went to school. So it's difficult. You think maybe it's time to move on. But I must say, getting knocked out in the quarterfinals when we really believed we were going to defend our world title, a lot of noise about the referee after that game as well. And just walking out, it was like, okay, I'm done. But there was just this emptiness in me. I said, listen, is this really the end? Am I going to end my career like this? And I mean, a month later, Heineke Meyer got appointed as Springbok coach. His first call was to myself, said, listen, Victor, are you coming out of retirement? I need you to captain the team for the next 2 years. And let someone take over from you. Help me groom the next captain for the next World Cup. And I was in immediately. I said, okay, I'm coming back. But unfortunately, I was out of the doping pool, the IRB, for a month. And they said, well, if you're out of the doping pool, you have to be back in rugby, in the doping pool for 6 months before you can play international rugby. So I would have missed the Tri-Nation incoming tours. And then I said to Heineke, listen, if I'm going to miss this tournament, you want me to play for 2 years and give over, but now I'm missing the first year, so it's not worth it to come back. And I missed out. And then at the end of the year, he asked me again to come back. And then I got offered the coaching job with the Bulls as assistant coach. And I said, listen, maybe no, I'm done. And then the next year, he just kept on coming back and said, listen, Victor, I need you. And I think you should play the next World Cup as well. And like my wife say, if Heineke may say I must jump into a fire, I'll probably do it. So, yeah, so I came back and played till 20.
Well, yeah, I was going to make some comparison between Heineke and your wife, but I won't go there, I don't think. But listen, it's obviously you had a real passion. You felt it was unfinished business. That's what I can hear. And then we went on. Of course, you returned with the Bulls, and then you went on to play in the 2015. And it was that close, wasn't it? I mean, losing out to those blooming All Blacks again in the semi-final, and you actually hung up there. Did you feel you left on the high that you wanted to? Obviously, not with a final appearance or lifting the trophy, but did you feel that you'd done everything you needed to this time?
Yeah, a lot of people ask me if the comeback was the right thing to do. And I still don't have the answer, to be honest. But there's so many things we achieved when I came back. I mean, for 2 years, they couldn't beat the All Blacks. In my first game back against the All Blacks, we beat them again. Then just before the World Cup, Argentina beat us in South Africa, where I didn't play. I was injured. And then I got the opportunity to go to Argentina and captain the side in Argentina, and we beat them there as well. And then into the World Cup, of course, the big upset, probably worst time in my rugby career, losing against Japan. But again, I've learned so much from that. And as a group of players, how you can pull together. I remember walking into that, actually at the hotel, into the team room. And I was the most senior guy, although I wasn't captain and John was captain. I sat in front with our Kontika and just said, listen, guys, we need to pull together. I've worked with Heineke. You will pull us. We just need to pull in right behind him and we'll turn this thing around. And we did. I think John got injured. I got the captaincy. I got injured. Farid took over. Farid did a fantastic job with Heineke. And we came within 2 points of beating New Zealand in that semi-final. And they went on to the final and won that quite comfortably. So just that turnaround. And it's difficult. We don't have time now to tell people and explain to them how a team can change things around, how they can use that disappointment and really pull close together. And I've been in the business world now for almost 5 years or 4 years. And just that experience, how you can take a lot of those things and take it into business when you go through tough times. That was a very special time as well.
No, to be able to turn around, which was one of the most famous, obviously, upsets in rugby history against the Japanese, and come so close is admirable. Certainly, to do that within a tournament, as you said, it takes some squads, months to get over those kind of results. Now, you didn't have boots at that stage. You still had a bit of a swan song. You went back to my home country, and you had a few games with Northampton Saints. How did that move come about?
Yeah, just before the World Cup, I got actually Bath contacted me and said, "Listen, please come join us for 6 months." And I was like, yeah, pretty good contract again. And I thought, well, I'm at the World Cup, why not go another 6 months? And then I pulled my hamstring in the Tri Nations against, I don't know which game that was, just the second last game and third last game in Tri Nations. And then they pulled the contract. And then I was like, oh, okay, where am I now? And then Northampton all of a sudden came through and said, listen, no, we'll take you, please come join us. And I was excited because I almost went to join Northampton at the end of 2007 when I was in Toulon. They wanted me to come play there, and I was really interested in going there. And then I went back to South Africa. I got the offer from the Bulls to come back home. So I thought, well, I've got 6 more months. Let's go there. Let's see what difference I can make, and maybe I can teach some of those youngsters in England a few things, and help them grow as a team.
Did you enjoy the weather though, Victor? Come on, be honest.
No. So my family was there for probably a month and a half, and then they decided now they're coming back to South Africa. So left me all by myself, and I stayed in Rushden, a very small town, and they just came back to sunny South Africa. They left me by myself.
Very, very sensible move as well. That's spoken as an Englishman who's made South Africa my home. I certainly couldn't go back there with that weather, that's for sure. Listen, I'm just going to open the floor up now. I know we've got a lot of people watching and they'd like to ask you a few questions of their own. So I'm going to just pass you across to Andre, who's probably fielding those questions for us. Andre, could you take the floor?
Absolutely. Just before we do that, just to show you guys again, I'm wearing the absolute latest fashion accessory that you have to have. It is the 1995 commemoration face mask. I've got it on at the moment. My nose is nice and warm. I can breathe, and every single cent that you can spend to buy this mask is going to the Players Fund. Look for your local Pick n Pay and make sure that you support them. You may be seeing a poll on the stage at the moment. And for those people who've got questions, if you'd like to go, we've opened up the chat line. And if you want to start posting some questions, so one of the things we just want to do quickly, just to make sure that we give you the best possible experience that you can have, is to ask you a few questions. So the questions are, where did you hear about this event? Social media, email, the Players Fund, cricket, or by personal invitation? That just gives us an idea. Did you enjoy the event? Victor, you'll be glad to know that we have a 100% hell yes. Everybody's enjoyed it. Well done, Dean, and well done, Victor. And would you like an invite to future events? Oh, yes, please, another 100%. So I think that's amazing. Just want to go and see if there are any questions. Yeah, there's Quinton van Jaarsveld, a two-parter. What is the favorite match of your record-setting career? And what do you regard as your best individual performance? So those two questions there, Victor.
Hello. Like you can see, my kids also got the masks, and everyone is supporting the box and supporting the Chris Jackson Fund. It's a fantastic fund, of course. Yeah, it's difficult. You've got so many games that stand out. If they talk about being man of the match in the World Cup final. But there's one game standing out for me in 2004. I came back. I was injured. I got sent back from New Zealand, and then we played Australia in Durban, almost the Tri Nations decider. And the lineouts really went well at some stage. Jeremy Paul didn't want to throw in because he didn't know where to throw it. So that match really stands out for me. And then a week in my career that really stands out is we went to Soweto. for the Super Rugby final against the Stormers. And just to see, and we're talking about 95 and what it did for the country, but for us as a Blue Bulls team, and everyone always talks about the conservative Afrikaans-speaking supporters, and to see those people going to Soweto, going into the backyards of the locals, braaiing with them, just mingling, and to see what sports can do for a country and getting people together and let people look past each other's differences was just amazing. So that week really stood out for me. But as a Springbok, that 2004, I was still a youngster, but that really stands out for me.
Your girls look absolutely fabulous. They look like real fashion models. I'm glad to see they're wearing their masks. Obviously, these masks come in children's sizes as well, as you can see. So girls, you look fabulous. But here's a question for the girls maybe that you want to see. And this is maybe a little bit of a tester for you, Victor. Devian Swart, an ex-player for Marty's ladies side, and also the team manager for that side, has said, will you allow or encourage your girls to play rugby?
No, I don't. It's difficult. You know, I love the game, but Jamie and Giselle, they love their netball. So I think they're netball players. Giselle might be a Bulls babe one day, dancing. But yeah, Jamie loves athletics as well, and they love their netball.
Fantastic. Yaku asks, who's the best lock you ever played against?
Played against?
Against, yes.
I've said it to many people. There were so many. I mean, when you're a youngster, I played against Martin Johnson and those guys, and it was a big thing for me. But in my age group, where I played against the guys year in and year out, I must say, I think Paul O'Connell, playing for the Lions, playing for Ireland, he was a guy that really did put in the homework when it came to lineouts. So it's always tough going up against him. And then Gert Small, who coached me for years, went there as well. That made it even more difficult because Gert knew exactly how we thought as a Springbok lineout. And yeah, it's always tough going up against Paul O'Connell.
Fantastic. And one of our great supporters, Nikita, is asking if you have a single favorite rugby memory.
Sorry, say again?
A single favorite rugby memory.
Single favorite. I must say a lot of my memories is probably off the field, not on the field. And I had a chance to talk to Lukanya Aum this week about the World Cup, and he talked about a moment with him and Mampims after the World Cup final. For me, it was probably 2007, winning the World Cup the Saturday, and then on the Sunday, we had the opportunity to go to a big marquee tent right in front of the Eiffel Tower. And we were probably about 10 or 12 Springbok guys that were there. And at some stage, we just walked outside. And I think, if I remember right, it was Frida Prier for sure, and myself. And I think there was one or two, I think Gary Buerta, maybe Donnie Rousseau sat there with us. And we were sitting there on the grass, just looking at the Eiffel Tower. And just that moment, going through our careers, by then we have won 3 Super Rugby, or we have 1 Super Rugby. We have just won the World Cup. And just sitting there, just going through that, I think that moment will always stay with me, and that was so special for us. Being there with your friends, being there with your mates, the guys that you've spent so many hours together, and knowing you've achieved something very special.
It sounds like an absolutely amazing memory. One last question, I think, and then Dean, if I can go back to you after this, and just wanted you to tell them a little bit more about the book again and how they can actually buy the tickets. Another last question from Colin. What are your thoughts on the upcoming British and Ireland Lions tour?
Yeah, I think we're all looking forward to it. We had the opportunity to play the British and Irish Lions as world champions. And again, South Africa world champions, British and Irish Lions are coming down. Again, we played England in the final. They played England in the final. So there will probably be a lot of those guys in the team. So I think it's going to be a great tournament. We're missing rugby at the moment with what's happening in the world. There's not a lot of international rugby. So I just think it's going to be even bigger than we've ever had before, and it's going to be great. The Bulls is also playing against them, so can't wait to watch that game as well. So I think it's going to be a very special series.
Yes, I don't think we can all wait anymore for some live rugby. There's one question I have to ask, one more. Sorry, Dean. From Steve Richardson, I just love this question. Can you tell us one joke that you remember well from Peter de Villiers' days? A joke from Peter de Villiers' days.
Yeah, the best was probably, so we were on our way in 2009 to go play the All Blacks in Hamilton, and we stayed in Coochie Beach, and we only flew into Hamilton on the Thursday, and there was a lot of questions when we arrived there in Hamilton. Why did you only come up this late? And Peter was like, well, there's not really a lot to do in New Zealand, and the guys actually enjoy the sun in Coochie Beach and just training there. And the New Zealand public were very unhappy with that. And even when we, just before the game, I think the mayor of Hamilton came with a little booklet of exactly what you can do in Hamilton, a lot of different things you can go see and everything. And then after the game, after we've won, and we've won the Tri-Nations, then we were in the after-match interview, and the one guy asked Peter, so you weren't here, what do you think about Hamilton? Do you know there's more things to do now? I said, yeah, as I think about it, there's probably something else you can do here, is you can win the Tri-Nations. And he just finished like that, and everyone was just really quiet.
Yeah, Peter de Villiers was one of those amazing characters. Dean, if you could just share with us some last final thoughts about the book, and to close it off, and just to come back to me so we can just say thank you to Victor properly.
No, it's fantastic. Thank you. Thank you, Andre. Great questions, everybody, as well. And Victor, lovely seeing your beautiful daughters on the screen there. I just want to mention that, is it Jamie? You do quite well at high jump. Can you just explain your passion for athletics to us, Jamie? There you are.
She's very shy. Yeah, she just loves athletics. Like I said, both of them like their netball. She's very committed. I think Dad installed that in her pretty early. But yeah, she's SA champion under 13s in the high jump, and let's hope she can keep doing really well.
No, congratulations. I'm sure you're both going to do very well. So it's nice that you're modest as well. But yeah, SA champion under 13s, quite incredible. I want to wrap up now, Victor, by asking about you and your future. Is it going to be coaching? Is it going to be commentary? Are you going to stay in the game? You've obviously mentioned your business interests. What next for you? I mean, you're obviously keeping very busy there.
Yeah, it's difficult. I love rugby. I will always have the passion. At some stage, I would definitely like to coach. I had the opportunity last year they gave me the head coaching job with the Bulls, and I said no to it. At that time, I just didn't feel like it was the right time. But yeah, let's hope I'll get the opportunity with the right guys to one day come back. Johan van Graan and myself is really close. Hopefully one day when he gets back to South Africa, there'll be opportunity to join him. Myself, him, and Farida Priya are like best mates, and we still believe we will get the opportunity somewhere to do something special, and hopefully one day coach the Springboks.
Well, we've heard it here. One day coach the Springboks, so we might hold you to that. It's been an absolute pleasure to get to know you better today, and to meet your beautiful family as well. And thank you so much for your time. As you know, we're doing all this in the hope of raising funds and awareness for the Incredible Players Fund, the charity that supports injured players around the country. It really is a rugby cause for rugby people. And Andre, yes, I'd just like to remind everybody, please do join us next week. We've got another fantastic Springbok legend, Beast, of course, joining us. But what we're going to do is we're going to launch this incredible offer to raffle the Springbok Opus book that I explained at the start of this show. It is literally a limited edition. It's a priceless book, number 2 of 20, signed by the entire 2015 Springbok squad. So what we're going to do, we're going to add that to the registration page for next week's event, this time next week with Beast. We're going to add that as a link, so please do buy your raffle tickets as part of that, and that's how you can contribute to this incredible cause. But I want to thank you, everybody in the audience, please, for joining us again and for your incredible support over the past few weeks. And as I said, thank you so much to Victor, your family. Please stay safe, you're looking well, and we look forward to seeing everyone next week. Thank you so much, Victor.
Thank you. I just want to say as well, I think the Chris Berger, Petrus Jackson Fund is doing amazing work in South Africa. And this book, I've got it right here on my bar. I've got the big one as well. I think I've got number 5 myself. It's an amazing book, so make sure you buy a ticket.
Victor,
thank you.
Please have a look at the comments. The chat is full of beautiful comments. We love seeing your family, and the little Yorkie's getting a lot of support as well. If you want to donate any money, we're going to leave that up for a few seconds. But one of the ways we'd like to say thank you to you is one of the ways that we do. We're now in the digital age, the Zoom era. And how do we say thank you to you? So one of the things that I could ask everybody to just switch your cameras on just for a few seconds. And what we do is do the great big thank you to Dean, to the Players Fund, and especially to you, Victor, and your family. And the way that we do it is we wave it, and this is being recorded. It's going out live on Facebook. And so if you want to switch your cameras on and just say thank you, and then what happens, if you switch on gallery view, you'll see how impressive it looks when you see all the people, because there are a lot of people here, and all just saying thank you to you. It's been an absolute privilege to have you on the Zoom tonight. And to the rest of you, don't forget Beast next week. It will be on Quicket. The opportunity to buy those tickets. Don't forget to go to Pick and Pay and buy your masks. It's been a pleasure. God bless, and we'll see you all next week.
Cheers.
Ja, ek het alles gelees. Dis aanset van dan.
Thanks, guys. I'm going to stop the meeting now. Thank you, Richard, for your help. Nice to see you, Morg, and we'll see you next week. Hello, Mary.